I'm Paul Levinson, and welcome to Light on Light Through episode 338, my review of the new Quantum Leap, the sequel to the original series. And this new series debuted here in the United States on NBC just last night. And I'll tell you, I was prepared not to like it, even though recently I very much enjoyed the sequel of The Man Who Fell to Earth on Showtime, and for that matter, Star Trek Strange New Worlds on Paramount Plus. And you know what? It turns out I did enjoy this first episode of the new Quantum Leap for all kinds of reasons, which I'll tell you about after I warn you about spoilers ahead. Well, first, I very much like the way this new Quantum Leap handled its connection to the original Quantum Leap on NBC from 1989 through 1993. We learned that Sam, the original leaper, never returned from his last mission. This leaves open the possibility that he could return in some way before this rebooted series concludes. And here's a prediction. I think we'll see Sam again, older and played by Scott Bakula, in the final episode of this season. And I know that Scott Bakula himself says we won't see Sam again, but I'm still making that prediction. We also learn in the first episode of the new Quantum Leap that Al, played by Dean Stockwell, passed away last year. And I thought that was a nice homage to Dean Stockwell, who also left us last year and who also received a very nice dedication at the end of this episode. It's also worth mentioning that Al's daughter is wearing his ring, which means she'll no doubt play a role in the new series. Next, I think Raymond Lee's Dr. Ben Song is a good time traveler, offering an effective balance of physical smarts, wisecracking, and even willing to throw a punch, which of course hurts his hand. Likewise, his fiancée, Caitlin Bassett Addison, whose hologram more or less accompanies Ben on his jaunts. You know, that hologram is never 100% reliable. That job, that is, the hologram, was done by Al in the original series, who pretty much was the only other major character in the original series. In contrast, the 2022 series has expanded the team, and that looks like it'll work pretty well, too. Of course, everything in Quantum Leap depends on where in the past the time traveler lands, in whose body the traveler finds himself, and what the traveler then needs to do. In the original series, the best episode was the double episode in the final season, Season 5, in which Sam leaps into the body of Lee Harvey Oswald. I'm hoping we get at least one such cosmically important story in the new season. In the meantime, I'll look forward to all the twists and turns this unique kind of time travel can bring us in Quantum Leap 2022. And I hope you enjoyed that brief review of the new Quantum Leap. I'll be back here next week with my review of the next episode in this new rebooted series. By the way, one of the things I heard mentioned in this first episode was quantum entanglement. That's something that actually Stephen Hawking began developing that concept a little after the original series. And you know what? I went with that concept as well in my Nebula-nominated story, The Chronology Protection Case. That was published in Analog Magazine. There'll be a link to that in the show notes of this episode of Light On, Light Through. And they also made, actually I say they, it's Jay Kensinger who directed and produced a 40-minute short film, The Chronology Protection Case, based on my story. And you can find that for free on Amazon Prime. That is, if you subscribe to Amazon Prime. Anyway, I'll be back here with another episode of Light On, Light Through very soon. In the meantime, the war is still raging in Ukraine. The Ukrainians have made some great advances against the Russian invaders who are just trying to destroy their country. The Russians don't seem to have any military plan other than just pulverize buildings, kill innocent civilians. It's a really horrible situation there, and I hope you can do whatever you can to help those brave people of Ukraine.
The Light on Light Through podcast.
Athens, 2042 AD. She ripped the paper in half, then ripped the halves, then ripped what was left again into bits and pieces of history that could have been. Sierra Waters had read once that, years ago, it was thought that men made love for the thrill, while women made love for the sense of connection it gave them.
Curled Up with a Good Book says, Sierra Waters is sexy as hell. You can find out more about The Plot to Save Socrates by Paul Levinson at theplottosavesocrates.com.
Paul Levinson Silk Code about an ancient biotech war raging on in secret for centuries.